TFR.
Truth Frequency Radio.
Good morning, TFR.
Good morning.
Hi, this is Alan. I like Ironworx because it's where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came.
I love Ironworx with Josh, Walt and Zach. It's like sitting in your front room having a cosy chat with your best friends.
Hi, it's Diva here, and I just want you to know that Ironworx with Josh, Walt and Zach, it's definitely my favourite dose of reality. Come join the family and keep it flat.
Why sleep in when you could get your dose of iron in the morning? Listen to the Ironworx on TFR.
This is Enlightened Dawn. Roses are red, violets are blue. Iron Realm Media is the best on the plane. To this show, I will forever be true. You guys are truly the best, and I love you guys. I'm so thankful to have you in my life.
Do you like listening to space letters from Never a Straight Answer? Then tune in to The Ironworx with Zach, Walter, and Josh. Break clear of the fear on the Ironworx and become an Iron Scout.
All right, Ramblers, let's get rambling.
And a TGIF to you all.
It's Friday, my dudes.
Thank God it's Friday.
It's not Tuesday, too. My fingers are too fat, but yes, thank God it's Friday. Welcome to the Ironworx, right here on Truth Frequency Radio. My name is Josh Corey, and I am joined this morning by three very good friends and co-hosts, starting off with Mr. Zachary Zabala. You might know him as Good Times for All here on YouTube. Zach, how are you, sir?
Hey, Josh. Hey, everybody. Oh, not too bad. A little sore. Got the garden bed all ready to roll yesterday. Just need a little bit of rain would be nice to wash in all the limestone, but I might just go get some river water and just pour it on over it. But yeah, it feels good. It feels really good. I'm excited. The hardest part's over. Now it's time for the fun.
Now it's the fun part.
So yeah.
So are you going to start everything from seeds right there in the bed, or have you got some stuff started, or are you going to get some starter plants? How are you going to... Certain plants I like to start. Certain plants I do starter plants. I have a really good nursery, family run, Piedmont Farms. You can find them online. They deliver anywhere in the continental United States. They do heirloom, non-GMO. I don't know if they'll ship grown plants. I'm not 100%. Oh, what? Yeah, that can be a little tricky, shipping live plants. Seeds are definitely easier. But it seems like Zach may be having some technical difficulties, so we will say hello to
Sorry about that.
No, they're good. There he is. No, you're all right.
Yeah, the internet, I don't know, glitched out there for a second. I don't know how much you heard of that, but Piedmont Farms here in South Carolina.
We got
family-run business.
To the point where you weren't sure if they would ship live plants.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure if they'll ship live plants, but check them out. They have all kinds of over 200 types of tomatoes, over 120 different types of peppers. I saw more different types of eggplants and zucchinis than I've ever seen before. I didn't know there was this many different types of these types of plants. So it's a really cool little family-run It's been around for like 3 generations of the family, I believe. So I like to give them my business. But no, they do a great job starting all their plants, and they're all about non-GMO, all, they don't use the herbicides and pesticides and stuff like that. It's a good place.
Well, if you got a link, why don't you drop it for us here in chat? That way,
Yeah.
Walt can hook it up in the show description, and I can do a bit of perusing. Well, then we shall move on and say hello to Mr. LC King Lucas. King Lucas, how are you, my good sir?
I'm struggling a little bit, but I'm doing all right. I've got a bit of a head cold. It's not corona, doesn't exist. But no, I've just been sort of doing the garden things, and I think the weather change from it just been really cold has sort of got me, but is what it is. And
that's bullshit.
Yeah, I've sort of been what?
That's bullshit. I'm going to call you out on that bullshit right now. I will not let shit like that slide on this show right here. Don't tell me it is what it is. I completely disagree.
Well, I got nothing to come back from that. I probably, a couple of days, I'll be right as rain.
There you go.
It's just how things happen. It's just part of nature's cycle, and you got to release a few toxins here and there, and that's about it.
Just got to purge that stuff.
Nothing to be fearful of.
Nope.
The old cold. It's crazy, isn't it?
It certainly is. What a world we live in.
And usually it's like, oh, thank God I've got a cold. Now I've got an excuse to actually sit around, read some books, do nothing. I mean, just enjoy it.
That's it. Just enjoy it. Enjoy the rest while your body's demanding it.
And that's what I've been doing. I've been actually focusing on a little bit more mythology and getting into some books. There's one book in particular I picked up, I swear I picked it up like 20 or 30 times. And I've just, every time I've done it, I'm like, oh, this seems really interesting. It's got some really heavy stuff in it. I'm like, and then I'm going, I don't get one single thing in it, but I'm sure it's really good. And then finally, I've had a little bit of a chance to pick it up, and I'm like, now after all this time, this things are starting to make sense, and this is where where the information leads. You can get a feel for what he's actually talking about, and it's a good feeling when that happens. It sort of means you've somewhat progressed, I guess.
Yeah, I think it does sort of highlight the fact that the information comes to you when you're ready for it. And maybe if you'd have picked it up one of those first couple times over the 30 or 40 times you tried, you would have interpreted the information one way, and it would have completely changed the path that you wandered down based purely on the timing that you took in that information. So you had to sit on it and just wait when it would lead you down the most accurate path. And that's why it took you this long to get into it. I think it's crazy that stuff like that happens.
Yeah, it is. It's you sort of don't realize where you sort of meander off into these little sort of sections of your own, research and things like that. You sometimes don't know why you're there, and then it's not until, like I said, years or something later that it actually goes, that's why I come across that. Yeah, there's this whole separate sort of timeline that seems to be happening, as well as the normal, linear timeline. So, but I'll stop yabbering and let you introduce the next fellow.
Yes, let's say hello to Mr. Walter Johnson, a Flat Earth Head. I'll stall and just kind of wander around, make sure he's ready and available and ready to go here. So, Walter, how you doing, sir? How is your week?
Wonderful, sir. Wonderful, wonderful week. We've made it to the weekend. It's Friday. My dudes. Sorry to hear you there, struggling, Lucas. I know you've heard it, and I know you know it, but I'll throw it out there again. Turmeric, golden milk. It is a great thing when you're feeling yuck. Even if you don't have all the and the stuffed upness, it can still just kind of soothe all that yuck, internal inflammation. I have a good recipe somewhere. I'll throw your way if you don't have one. But yeah, I'm doing great. Busy week here. We acquired a new family member here. You probably will hear her. She was being quite vocal before we got on the air. But yeah, I have a new cat. Her name is Rizzo. So she's now part of the family, making her way around the house, getting into all the little nooks and crannies. So, but yeah, she was cutting up earlier. So I don't think she'll be quiet through the whole show. We'll see. But yeah, I'm doing great. How are you, Josh?
I'm good. It is Friday, my dudes.
It's Friday, my dudes.
And it's, end of the week. It's been quiet at work. Nothing too spectacular. Pretty quiet around here. Nothing too spectacular. Got all the girls down in the basement transferred into 5-gallon buckets. I've got 4 remaining that survived the floods and the famine and the drought and all that good stuff that happened down in the basement over the last couple months. So 4 nice, big, green girls still down there, alive and kicking, doing well. Got the liquid nutrients in there. Still not ready to switch over to flowering yet. I don't think. They're just not big enough. And they're doing it in stages. They're growing in stages. There's 4 plants almost in 3 different stages. Probably because of all the trauma that had happened down there. So yeah, everything's been real copacetic.
Are you bushing them out?
I am not done anything other than transplant them. I'm not touching them. I'm not doing anything. I'll get creative and a little more daring once I get someplace permanent. I'm still temporary shelter down there. Not even my
I hear you.
Original temporary shelter. I've got all the styrofoam panels just sort of wedged between the floor and the ceiling. So they have this nice bow in them. Then I just took like 5 or 6 and made a little enclosure. So it's kind of cool. It's this little pod. But then I got my light inside there. So it reflects, keeps all the light in there, and it's doing its thing. It's working.
Awesome.
But I've not bushed them out. I've not touched them. I'm just trying to keep them alive. If I can keep them alive, I'll be happy. I'll get creative later once I am confident in my abilities to not kill them.
Yeah, you just got to know they're not going to die and know that you're not hurting them. It's all about the intent. I mean, you can definitely kill a plant but how many plants I run over with the lawnmower and they just come back stronger and healthier and bigger and more bushier every single time? Yeah, they're resilient. Cutting them, it's hard to kill them. It's more, poisons, not water, too much water, stuff like that that'll kill them. But cutting them, I mean, they're designed for that. Deer are designed to come up and eat the tips off, and then the plant splits into 2. So the next time the deer comes, there's 2 buds to eat instead of just the one now. It's neat how nature works. It's like the more you use it, the more it creates.
Nature just does it.
Nature just does it.
Let's see. Today is Friday, May 7th. I believe that would mark the end of our ban. I guess tomorrow morning, technically, officially, is the 8th.
I was going to say, you mean like tonight at midnight after we don't broadcast on a Friday?
So this week should, fingers crossed, be the last live broadcast from the IRM podcast backup channel, as we shall be returning to the main channel starting next week. So if you're here this morning, just remember, come Tuesday, you'll be needing to go somewhere else to catch us live back to the Iron Realm Media channel over there. It's got the blue logo. This one, the backup, has the red logo. That's how you
see what we did there.
And I bet you if we need another channel, I can come up with some other way to differentiate. I don't know. Green logo.
It'd be purple.
Purple. There you go.
Beat me to it. Damn it, Lucas. You're so quick with your cold.
So we had Terrestrial Mac on a couple weeks on our Have No Sphere show. And he had mentioned that he was basically offering cover songs, $5 a pop. So I kicked him a little bit of cash and said, hey, I want some cover songs. And we were discussing and cussing and trying to figure out exactly which songs we wanted. And while that was going on, I slipped him a couple titles. Just one that I thought I really wanted to hear. Another one that I thought would be an awesome addition to both our library and his. But I got the first one back. The first one's ready. He sent it to me last night. It is absolutely awesome. I've invited him on tonight if he wanted to premiere it live on the show. So I don't, that way we can wait. I'm not going to release any of it just yet. I'm going to tease the shit out of it and make you guys show up tonight over there for Have No Sphere. But it's good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. The song itself, I thought, was going to be a really good one. So it worked out well. But yeah, even the video, the editing, it's really good. I will have to, I haven't decided if I want to show everyone yet or if I want to keep it to myself and just unveil it to the world this evening. So I'm going to chew on that for a while because it is so good. I would really like to let the other guys see it and listen to it and enjoy it for the whole day because they will be. It was pretty awesome. Let's see what else. I think that about wraps it up. I don't have a whole lot else. Trying to get guests booked. The first guest back on the main channel next Friday for Have No Sphere will be who, Walter?
Why, a little friend of ours who we've been promising to have and talking about having and spoken to about having on for some time, and yet we just keep missing the intersection. Our good buddy Brian Stavely should be here, along with our good old friend Bobo. Bob will come hang out. He's excited about that show, so he wanted to come be a part of it. So hopefully that will all come together. I know he's a busy dude on Fridays, but hopefully we've actually planned ahead this time a bit, and it all should work out. I'm excited. I know we haven't talked about the big Mandela in quite a while. We hit it here and there, but yeah, definitely a topic that I've gone both ways on quite a bit and still don't know where I am. So we'll see what happens on that show.
Yeah, I'd be curious. It's definitely a super interesting topic, if nothing else.
I know them bears though. Those bears, bro. That's what always gets me is the bears.
Yeah, me too.
And the color, the chartreuse, but then that's a long story and we've heard it before.
Yeah, there's a few things that keep me from being able to just dismiss it out of hand. And that
exactly.
Aries diffraction.
That messes with me.
I didn't hear you, Zach.
I said Aries diffraction.
Aries diffraction. There you go. Everybody's got their own one that kind of makes them go, yeah, bad song memories and lots of cultural dilution of whatever, but yours is Aries and mine is the Bears.
6 months studying that and looking up those two words together, and then all of a sudden they were never together. They're not real words. You know, it's not a real phrase. It's like, wait a minute here. Yeah, that was weird. That broke my brain when it happened. I thought I was going crazy, actually.
Yep.
I mean, you guys were there.
Yep.
I was talking to you about it right after.
Went to look for it.
I found out, yeah. What is going on? Thinking Google might have been messing with me or something, you know. That's how weird it was.
Oh, it's Google messing with you, but it's not the way you thought.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's
crazy stuff.
I'll have to keep quiet about this topic, I reckon.
Oh no!
Maybe my mind isn't quite as open as yours, probably.
Let's hear it. Come on, that's what this show is.
No,
sir. We don't all have to be on the same page.
I don't believe it at 1 second.
at all. You don't have anything that's changed in your life you can't explain.
Not really.
When Brian comes on and he can go for like 5 hours, just
No doubt.
rattling out different ones.
The different
one of
ones.
them's going to click with you. One of them you're going to be like, no, that
You'll go, no, that's wrong. Let me go look. And when you look, your brain will kind of kick over a little, and you'll go, huh, okay. And I know
All
a lot
right,
of it
we'll have
is
to
cultural.
break my brain.
We'll see. I hope we do. I hope we do. You could be the holdout that shows us all what it really is.
I could just, if it happens, I'd say I'll just like shatter my whole paradigm and nothing. I'll just be living in a tent underneath a, that was it. He lost his marbles, and I don't know. We'll see what happens. He might pick a winner though. It's like Russian roulette, isn't it? He might have that loaded bullet.
Sometimes the paradigm needs shaking up. You never know.
Yeah, always. But as if flat Earth isn't enough, That's a decent slap around the face, isn't it, for most people?
But as we continually find out, it's all been turned upside down and twisted inside out and thrown against the mirror, and it's so confusing at this point what might really be going on, compared to what they told us, his story. So yeah, I don't know. I've got again, I've gone back and forth. I don't want to have that show yet. I'm trying so hard not to have that show on this show because I want to talk to Brian about all this. So, but yeah, I've gone lots of ways on this, truly. And the fact that I noticed it before it was a thing in 2 different occasions. Well, no, actually 3, because the main one, the Mandela effect, the name it came from, actually, I remember him dying when I was in college. So that, that's the 3 that I remember happening before it was a thing, before it was a meme, before it was an internet thing, and everybody had a channel, So I don't know. We'll talk about it with Brian. I'm trying to not have that show today. Damn it. What are we talking about today?
What the hell are we talking about today? I don't know.
Don't ask me. I usually work off what Zach's talking about.
But don't put it on me.
Again.
No, I bombarded with space nonsense this week for sure. It was like 8 out of the 10 articles they shared that weren't, for some reason they give me 10 articles that have to do with whatever, and then I get like 3 or 4 or 5, something like that, articles from the region. But all 10 articles, except maybe 1, was nothing but all space nonsense. Now, this could be because I search, space.com, NASA, blah, blah, blah. But I really don't all that much. I mean, maybe 2 days a week when I'm here on Ironworx. But, I mean, they show it to me like every day. And I search all kinds of stuff. So you would think I'd be getting, electrical this or electrical that or something. But no, it's this week, again, has been nothing but space.
Well, I definitely was
not old articles. Sorry, Walt, but
go ahead,
old articles. Some will be like, "You missed this. This is 9 months old." It's like, why are you showing me something 9 months old?
Dude, get out of my head. That's what I was about to say. I haven't been searching for it, but they've been throwing me old stuff out of nowhere. Yep, that same thing. Lots of old stories. In case you missed it from a year ago, and it's like, what? It's like they're starving for stories. Did anyone?
So they repackage them.
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah.
So did anyone by chance watch the Starship? What's it called? SN-15 rocket thing from a few days ago? The only reason I did is because Shell sent me the link because it was so ridiculous. And I can't show you today right here on this show, but we might look at it this afternoon. Have a final blowout on our channel here before we get a whatever. But yeah, it was not just so horribly done that it was ridiculous, but the editing was horrible. The guy on the camera, on the narration was just, he couldn't even keep up with the mistakes that were being shown on. It's pretty crazy. I'll link it to you guys. How about that in chat here in a minute? And let you guys have a good laugh. But yeah, it's pretty stunning what's going on. And people are still going, oh yeah, that can happen. Physics.
Actually, Level Earth Observer, he done a good video the other day, and he showed this guy. They were supposedly in the ISS, and there was one of the astronauts sitting there, and he's fiddling with his hold, what holds him up, and his braces and whatnot under his clothes. You could see it clearly. And then there was another astronaut behind him, and he moved his head, and his head sort of became see-through, and that's where the wires were. So you could see it clear as day. So not only is he messing with his harness because it's obviously uncomfortable, and they look ridiculous. They look like they're just stuck there, But yeah, as soon as he moved his head, they must do something to the camera or, fiddle with it a bit. But yeah, he moved it into the wrong spot, and his head became see-through.
Yep, it's hard
to.
to.
That was a good catch.
Just like space dust, green screens are tricky.
Green screens are tricky. That's right. Especially if you have to combine it with the masking and all that other good stuff. You got to really know what you're doing. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for.
We did.
Yeah, that's it. That's segment number 1 right here of the Ironworks on Truth Frequency Radio, TFRlive.com. We shall be right back after these briefest of messages.
Thank God it's Friday.
The reviews for Extendivite are amazing. Here are some from Amazon. By Christine, great for heart palpitations. By Anne, before I started using this product, every afternoon, my ankles and my hands would be swollen. That doesn't happen anymore. So if that part of their advertising is true, I have to assume that the rest of it is also. Not to mention that when I had my yearly blood test, only a few weeks after beginning to use this product, my cholesterol had dropped over 30 points. I'm going to continue to take it. By Croc, I love this product. It really works. By Brad, works great, thank you. Tell us your story. Get your Extendivite today. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendivite.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies in a capsule.
It's a great product. And the one thing I like about it the most is that when you open the bottles, you can smell like the scent of the fruits and veggies. It's no genius thing to it. It's really just fruits and veggies, which everyone needs. And you guys kind of put it in a way where you can take it easy and you can get it, and it's natural. And that's what I like about it. I like the product, and I've taken it, and it's definitely made me feel a lot better. I am a healthy person to begin with, but it's definitely good prevention, and it's definitely gives me energy, and I feel like it's a natural thing. I like it. I really do.
For a limited time, use discount code TALK to receive a 50% discount on your first preferred whole health system and have it shipped to you free. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Again, use discount code TALK.
For millennia, mankind has been searching for answers to the big questions, such as, where did the universe come from? Where did we come from? Why are we here? Are we alone? And just what the heck is the Sasquatch all about? I can't promise you answers, and neither can the Woo Crew, but they invite you to join them Friday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, midnight in the UK, for Freaky Friday, exclusively on Truth Frequency Radio. Spirituality, multiverse, quantum mechanics, the occult, and so much conspiracy analysis that it will make your mind melt. Take my word for it. Freaky Friday. It's more than a show. It's a way of life. I'm Stephen Hawking, and I am proud to be a Wookiee.
We are TFR.
My faith in destiny is all I need to prevail.
Truth Frequency Radio.
Welcome back for the second segment of the Ironworks, right here on Truth Frequency Radio, TFRlive.com. Just caffeinating, hanging out, doing a nice slow wake up this morning.
So I saw an article just now. They pulled a marine biologist up in I forget what river. I think it was near Detroit. A river in Michigan. Pulled a 240-pound sturgeon out of the water. That's enormous. Think about that for just a second.
Yeah, that's pretty
240-pound fish. That's just...
I'm just looking up what a sturgeon is. Don't mind me.
They're thinking that it's at least 100 years old, this fish, to get that big.
So is a sturgeon like a catfish with pituitary issues, whereas it'll keep growing as long as it's alive? It never stops. And
Sturgeon get huge. They really do. We don't know a whole lot about them. I know they're endangered, so you're not allowed to, at least I know a lot of the different sturgeon are, you're not allowed to even board them. You're not allowed to put them on your boat. If you hook one, you have to, cut the line. Sturgeon
it says they released it in Michigan too. Yeah,
you're not allowed to harm them. So most people, there's not a whole lot of data unless it's caught by a marine biologist. People who follow the law don't ever pick them up and get them weighed and all that kind of stuff. They don't even get them on their boats. But they're like all over the place. These sturgeon, they find them Colorado rivers, and they get huge, really long, usually not that fat. This thing is a beast, 240 pounds. They usually look more like a gar. They're skinnier, usually, kind of like a big giant pike but different, but that same shape. Yeah.
Well, I found a photo of one, and he looks as long as a man. This sturgeon that they're holding.
Is it a guy in a red jacket and he's masked up?
No,
that's the Sturgeon General.
But it's growing up here in South Louisiana, a big part of it, it used to be, it still is, but not like it used to be, as far as locally, was commercial fishing. In fact, my dad did it for a few years, and it could be anything from running trot lines to having a boat to, it's just different levels. And my step family were part of like the infrastructure of it here. So my one of my step grandparents, let's just say that. It's complicated to explain all this, I guess, but they had the place where people would come and sell their catch. And I mean, dude, I saw tons of fish go through that place. And on the walls inside that place, in part of the, like, there was an ice house over here, and there was a place over here where they would haul out the big hauls with the pulley systems, the chain links, and all that stuff. They had a picture of 3 on the wall of different catches. And there was like stuff like this, stuff the size of men and things like that. But there was a picture of a catfish with men standing next to it. It was laying on the ground. It was like, it came up past their, like, to their thigh area, almost to their hips, the girth of it. And there were kids, 4 of them, sitting on this thing, lined up. And they were like, 2 of them had their feet literally off the ground. This thing was it was like a freaking dinosaur looking thing. And I mean, it was, obviously not faked. It was it was an old picture on their wall. Yeah, it was pretty nuts. Like the biggest catfish probably in existence. It had to have been. It was astonishing. I wonder if I could go find that picture and take a picture of it these days. I haven't been to that place in a long time.
I know my buddy, he was doing underwater welding. Well, he was a underwater welder tender, gonna be an underwater welder eventually. And he didn't end up becoming an underwater welder. He actually ended up quitting because he almost killed his welder. 8 hours a day, sitting there looking at gauges is, for someone with a short attention span, that's not the job for them. Like, that was his job. He'd help the guy get everything all set up, and then he'd watch gauges. Just sit there and watch these 3 gauges and make sure they're at the right spot, or else the guy down at the other end of the line, 90 to 120 feet down in the water, doesn't get the right mixture of his gases and ends up dying. And yeah, he may not dozed off, but just like was daydreaming for a couple minutes. And yeah, almost killed the guy. So he quit. He's like, I can't do this. That's, no, I don't want that on my conscience. But anyway, he would hear stories, at the shop or whatnot, and and all the guys told him, don't ever go work on the levees up in the St. Lawrence Freeway. It connects all the Great Lakes and all that stuff to the east of Michigan. And he said there are catfish up there because it's like warm water. There's industry around there and it's real deep. He said there was catfish with eyes the size of basketballs.
Right. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about, dude. Insanity level of a catfish of all things.
Yeah.
Well, again, they don't stop growing.
Easily just swallow a dog.
Right. Nope. Once they get caught, they don't stop.
Gone.
Right.
So yeah, there are big things down in that water. And I remember I jumped in Lake Michigan, way out there, 13 miles out. It was like 60 feet deep. I jumped off my uncle's boat, got in the water, and I felt like bait. I knew what a worm on a hook kind of felt like. I was like, I'm not supposed to be here. It just felt like there was something really big, looking at me.
Sizing you up.
Yep. And I got out of the water.
Or is that
yeah.
We tried to get you out, Zach, but Zach said, leave me alone, I'm baiting.
Yeah, there's some big stuff in these lakes and let alone the ocean.
Like Nessie.
Yeah,
pretty huge when I just threw a picture there in chat. That's a pretty big monster there. It's not as big as the one in that picture, but it's a pretty damn big catfish there. I'll put that in the show pic for all those who can't see on the radio. I know that's a lot of you.
They have a inflatable bladder inside them that allows them to go up and down, doesn't it?
Seems like something like that is possibly correct. I'm sorry, I'm just looking at fish pictures. Hey, what about those insane people who go into the mud holes, stick their arms in there, and let the catfish latch on to catch it? Have you seen that stuff?
That's
That
what
craziness.
Doc Michael in chat had just said. Try noodling.
Oh, did he?
that
I'm out of chat. Sorry, I'm looking at pics. Yeah, that's craziness. Not me. Thank you.
Nope.
As you said, Zach, I don't want to be bait.
That whole concept, no matter how big it is, just is not for me.
No, I was taught that at a young age. You never stick your hand down in a catfish's mouth, you know? You get stung by its gills, cut by its gills, something like that.
Oh, it's got stickers, Jack. It'll get you.
Yeah,
It
biggest fish I
will
had caught at a under 10 was a catfish. And it was probably up to just above my knee, touching the ground, although I was awesome. Just had a piece of blood liver right out in the middle of the lake on a big giant bobber, and it was downpour raining. We were sitting by the car underneath the back end, just waiting for the rain to slow down a little bit. We were mostly fishing for crappie, and I just see that big giant bobber go boom way out in the middle. I had to run. I was soaked. It was awesome. I still have pictures of that. I was probably 7 or 8 years old. Still remember my first fish I ever caught, that bluegill, smelling my hands, and then now whenever I walk into a Red Lobster, that's what I see. Bluegill poop and slime all over my hands. That's just what that smell takes me back to. It was on Wolf Lake.
Wolf Lake.
So Liz is asking, can you eat catfish?
Oh, can you eat catfish? Yes, you
There's
can
a
eat catfish.
whole southern.
There's catfish houses in the South. Oh yeah, there's catfish farms. It's a whole thing down here. I don't know about up north, but yeah, here catfish is a delicacy. Now, that being said, you can have two different things can happen. You can catch some from an area that you shouldn't have, and they'll have a bad taste, or somebody will have caught those and they won't have a great taste. And then sometimes you'll get some really oily catfish and they have an oily taste. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's not gamey, it's oily. And that's probably way not even correct. But yeah. But that's only about 1 in 15 pieces that you bite into. But other than that, yeah, I like some catfish with some hush puppies. Oh, shoo-wee.
Little like carp, don't they have a mud vein or something like that? You have to be real careful about when you're cleaning them.
You just got to clean them carefully, like you do anything. I mean, you don't want to bloody them up, leave anything. But yeah,
So like those.
What? Let's crank up some mud vein.
You know those like Chinese that I don't know. I think it's the Chinese that eat that like poisonous fish.
Oh, yeah, blowfish, pufferfish, yeah. Poison fish, tasty fish. Sorry, Simpsons reference.
You want to know your chef knows what he's doing with that.
Yeah, I just won't eat raw fish. I'll be all right. I don't know. I don't want to, be surprised possibly while I'm eating something.
Yes, science!
Sorry, I've got one too many keyboards showing.
You could die if you eat this. Nah. I would rather go jump out of a plane if I was looking for some kind of thrill or something like that than, raw fish. Yeah. Have you ever seen those people who cook the fish with just like lemon juice, the citric acid, and the lemon?
Oh yeah,
it's called ceviche.
Fish.
Ceviche, yeah, it's really good.
There you go.
Yeah, there's a guy I was subscribed to him forever. He'd go kayak fishing down there in the Florida Keys. and catch all kinds of these weird little fish. And he'd have his little cooler with him, and he'd have a lemon and and he'd just cut up some fish and throw it in there with the lemon and some other stuff, and have like a little meal while he was fishing. No fire needed.
Sorry, I'm gathering pictures, y'all. Sorry if I get too quiet.
I was just dropping hush puppy recipes in the chat.
Yeah, I've seen that. Trying to work out what it is.
It's a ball of dough, cooked, pretty much.
Fried, just like everything else in the
Hush puppies. So the mythology is that Southern cooks would be in the back cooking up catfish, which you dip in flour, and you have all these ingredients around, whatever. And so the dogs would be yapping at the back door. They'd take a little ball of dough, throw it in the grease, throw it out there to the dog, and say, "Hush, puppy." So that's the old wives' tale of it. But yeah, they've gotten kind of crazy over the years. There's some different restaurants that do some different things with them. At least down here, again, in the South. We eat fried dough. Yes, we do. Thank you. But they're tasty. Man, I want catfish now. See what y'all
Tasty
done?
and cheap.
Tasty and cheap.
Oh, good.
You can keep your fish.
Yeah, growing up on the river, we'd have big catfish fries.
Oh, yeah.
Because it'd be out there in the middle of the woods. It's just a really small community. So they'd get together and have these little socials. They'd have a catfish social on a Friday night. So all the folks in the neighborhood would just come and bring catfish. And yeah, you just roll it in the cornmeal and fry it up. And you just do it by just tens and tens of pounds and just a huge pile of fried catfish. And yeah, everybody just come and eat themselves silly. That's crazy times.
Yeah, there's actually a place here in the Kakalaki region called the Cookout. And it's like I don't know. There's quite a few of them, but it didn't make it real big. It's kind of like Del Taco or something like that. It didn't go nationwide, but there's quite a few of them. There's a chain of them. But that's one of the things they serve is hush puppies. And they're so good. I had some like a week ago. And their burgers, they taste like it was cooked out on a grill. That's why they call it the Cookout. Like a charcoal grill flavored hamburger.
Man, I need to go there. I need to go to there. Huh. Getting hungry, and we're not even. Oh, we might be getting close to a break. No, not yet. Of course, I don't have any hush puppies, do I? So.
Yeah, as far as eating fish, I mean, when I was up there in the Boundary Waters, northern Minnesota, right on the Canada border where there's no motorboats allowed in the water, and you can just stick your pitcher down in the middle of the river and pull it out, and you don't have to put tablets in there or boil it, or you can just drink the water. It's that clean.
Mm-hmm.
And I would eat fish out of there, no problem. We would catch them, fillet them and cook them up right there, and that would be dinner. That I had no problem with. But I grew up in Northwest Indiana, the region, where it's like, if you look at aerial maps of Lake Michigan, the little southwest corner where I grew up in, it's like a brown haze coming out of that corner that goes on for miles into the lake. I mean, the little Calumet River in Gary never freezes over, ever. I mean, it gets negative 30 degrees.
That's crazy. There's a town about 20 miles from here named Calumet. Sorry.
Yeah, it's insane. There's just what we do to this water. The most important substance that we have. One of the things that we need to survive, and we just destroy it.
Sorry, I'm playing catch up in chat.
I didn't eat fish when I caught them from around there.
Well, that's a lot of the talk in chat is different opinions on these different fishes. And I'm a lot like, as far as crustaceans, I'm not big on bottom dwellers. I don't eat shrimp or crawfish anymore. I used to eat crawfish just because it was the big crawfish crawfish boils, and we would have crawfish fries and that kind of thing growing up. But once I kind of learned more about them, I didn't want them anymore. The same could be said for catfish, I suppose. They are bottom dwellers, and that's where some of that gamey oiliness can come from, which, again, isn't the best thing when you bite into it, but it's part of the game, kind of that Russian roulette thing. So, I mean, a lot of the food that people go crazy for in areas is culturally because, at one point they were starving and they were eating bugs out of ditches. That's basically what crawfish is, to me. So, you just different levels of delicacies, I suppose. I mean, I've seen some crazy stuff eaten on some crazy shows that I would never put in my mouth.
Oh, yeah. You ate the first clam.
Right.
Like raw oyster or whatever. There's a big bowl of
That's
snot.
a big
Let's
old
see
snot.
what that tastes like.
Let me see if I can slurp that down. Oh. But yeah, definitely my tastes change over the years. I definitely can say. Oh man, Ben Flat in chat. Hush puppies with salsa cheese dip. Oh my God, I am going to make hush puppies today. Yes, Ben Flat, mud bugs. There's your mud vein. What? We're going to have to play some mud vein on the way out. Let me see if I can find some.
If I recall, they're a heavier band, right?
A lot heavier.
Yeah, they're heavy.
Yeah. Yeah, I had buddies that were
Heavy
really
and phenomenal. Like, okay, so I like heavier music, but I don't like music that's just heavy to be heavy. It's got to have some musicality and some technical prowess. When I tell you these guys are technically proficient, the drummer is like a machine, and the time signatures they use are madness. The syncopation is nuts. The guitarist, phenomenal, crunchy, tasty, fills in a lot of area, but the area he fills in is not much room left over by this guy named Ryan Martini, who is a bass beast, a bassist like you've never seen. He plays with like this tapping technique on the fretboard, so he gets all these crazy harmonies, but he's doing it with like two fingers, and it's like, but he also does the slap and go check out Rhino. He is a beast on bass. Sorry, I just loved Mudvayne back in the day, and I hear they're getting back together this year, so I'm excited.
And when they the recordings, I try and listen to it from a producer angle as well, but the recordings are really well done.
Oh my God! Technically, yes.
Just the way where they get everything to sit, and they have the drums that
right, like
on
to
time as well.
Bass,
so
it fills up that mix. To be able to even set anything around that bass is crazy, and the way his sound just fills it up. Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
yeah, there's
I'll
some pretty amazing producers out there, and I'm always sort of listening for and working out how they did it, and some of it's just phenomenal how, obviously they got really good equipment as well, but there's definitely a knack to the people that actually produce these records. And that's why there's, quite a few famous producers, and you'll hear the albums, and they're, nearly every one of them that they do is like taking their songs to the next level. So yeah, it's there's definitely a knack to it. And it's just something that interests me when you're trying to replicate or get your music to sound like it's professional. Yeah, it's a whole artwork just in that side of things.
Well, yeah, very rarely is a song written and played as the original was. You know what I'm saying? Like, once a producer gets a hold of it, it usually probably never sounds the same unless you were John Denver or one of these singer-songwriters that sat around with an acoustic guitar. But most songs are written on a piano or an acoustic guitar, and then they add in all this other stuff. Then the producer comes in and it's like, all right, we need the bass and the drums and this and that. The songwriters, they don't care about any of that shit. The people who are just writing the words.
Well, the thing is, what the producer does, he not only just adds effects and say reverbs and gives it a sort of that holistic sound, but you're actually going into details with your EQs and actually pulling out certain frequencies, even if it's a tiny little section of it, and then dropping that out so it doesn't actually bother your ears, and it can make a huge difference to how the sound. But you're not going to get that in any live situation, because you're not going to be able to EQ that well.
Yeah, I
Well, I
noticed
mean,
difference in bands.
yes.
Some
I
bands
saw
will have
Mudvayne live. Oh, I'm sorry, Zach.
I'm just saying, some people have 90 people doing their sound settings and stuff like that. Like Pearl Jam had a huge group of people that were
Yeah.
there just to work on their
Yeah,
sound.
they sounded amazing live. Even at Lollapalooza, Pearl Jam basically sounded like the album. And the same thing with Mudvayne. I saw them at House of Blues in New Orleans, and they pretty much were album perfect. Now, not the vocalist, because I mean that dude is going through the whole album. So to do that every night for like a tour, I can't imagine what that would do to your vocal cords. He's still singing though. He was in the band, hell yeah. But yeah, saw him live, and that mix worked. The bass was there, the fill with the guitar. Yeah, they've got that. They've got it working, or they wouldn't be Mudvayne.
And then some bands like the Stones, you can't make sound like the album, unless you play the album. They're more for studio bands than, a
I
live
shared a
band.
song there in chat. It's one of Mudvayne's less heavy songs. So, and as we go to break, I'll give you a little taste of one that is more heavy. We will be right back after this little break. All right, guys, we will be back. You are watching or listening or whatever you do.
Radio is your number one source for news and information without the hate, hype, and fear. We're proud to feature cutting-edge programs like Beyond the Veil with Chris and Cherie Geo, X Squared with Brooks Agnew, Paranormal Portal with Brent Thomas, Sharonism Raw with Jaron and Nissa, Fearless with Frank Castle, Strange World with Mark Sargent, The Eye of Ra with Ra Castaldo, The Infinite Fringe with Billy Ray, Ironworx with Josh Corey, The Kev Baker Show, and dozens more. Did you know you can listen from any telephone by dialing 641-793-7117 or call into your favorite show toll free at 833-TFR Live. Uncensored talk and news you won't hear in the mainstream media. Truth Frequency Radio, your protection from deception.
A safe ending to a hostage standoff. I'm Carmen Roberts, Fox News. Police in St. Cloud, Minnesota say they know the man who tried to rob a bank yesterday and held hostages for nearly 9 hours.
The suspect's name is Ray Rico McNeary. We have had numerous contacts with this individual dating back at least a decade, including violent crime.
Police Chief Blair Anderson. McNeary faces bank robbery and kidnapping charges. None of the 5 hostages was injured. A prosecutor in Idaho says he's weighing whether to charge a 6th-grade girl with attempted murder. Jefferson County Sheriff Steve Anderson says the girl shot 2 students and a custodian.
During the shooting, a teacher disarmed the student and detained her until law enforcement took her into custody.
The injuries were not life-threatening. President Biden makes another push for his infrastructure plans.
I've never seen a Republican or Democrat road. I just see roads.
Standing in front of an aging bridge in Lake Charles, Louisiana yesterday, the president urged Republicans to back his multi-trillion-dollar spending plans.
Republicans say they're ready to negotiate by putting forward their own plan. But the two sides are still roughly $1.5 trillion apart and nowhere close to agreeing on how to pay for it.
Fox's Kristen Fisher. We'll find out this morning if more Americans returned to work last month. Economists expect the April jobs report will show solid gains.
Economists surveyed by the Wall Street Journal are forecasting that employers added 1 million jobs compared with a gain of 916,000 in March, and project that the jobless rate ticked down to 5.8% from 6%. Even with another solid gain, the economy will still have millions of fewer jobs than it did before the pandemic.
Fox's Hillary Barsky. America's listening to Fox News.
Into the truth frequency.
Your protection from deception. This is Truth Frequency Radio.
It's a brand new day. Good morning. Here. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up!
What is dark matter?
Okay, we don't know.
That's great. That's why it's called dark.
It's exactly.
Everyone knows all reputable information comes from random people on the internet. Tell me things, internet. The earth is flat. It's like school in your hand.
Dark matter is something we do not know what it is. We believe the dark matter is there, but we have never detected it. Well, what I'm afraid of course, is that there is no dark matter out there. There was one? There is no dark matter out there. We need to think really hard, to think really hard, to think really hard, to think really hard.
Wake up!
And welcome back. Hour number 2 of the Ironworks kicking off right now. Josh, Walt, Zach, and Lucas. Just hanging out.
Hanging out. It's Friday, dudes. Little jam for you, taking you out, bringing you in. Here we are. It's Friday. Why don't we? Zach had a good idea in chat there. I see it. We should maybe give away an app today.
I suspect I could probably do that.
Cool.
How do we do it?
I don't know. Therein lies the rub.
Which game do we play? Who can guess my grandmother's maiden name?
What number am I thinking of?
I love that in the what was that game? Or some movie about they went to like a Vegas and they went to like a different casino where it was Vacation.
Vacation. I was trying to get to the mute.
Guess that number. And,
Guess it. Yeah. Oh, that was great.
There we go.
Great.
I just dropped it in chat. You guys can give it away at will.
Oh man,
Well,
we didn't
what
even get a
happened?
game. We're like,
What
we're gonna.
happened? We gotta do a game.
Well, no, I dropped it in the Skype chat for
Go up
us.
to the.
To our chat.
To
Okay,
our
I like
chat,
that.
so that I'm not the only one in
We went out
control
to the
of
wind, right?
No.
Catch.
like a T-shirt, just throw it out there.
T-shirt cannon. Yes, sir.
It's like the. Yeah, no, Callum, wrong. Wasn't 5.
Special day in the house.
Team 1 and 10 though, so it's not a crazy out there number. It was close, very close. I always like those magic tricks where the guy's on stage and then he says and pulls out someone's watch from the crowd or something like that, and they're like, how'd they get that?
I always wanted to learn how to do that stuff, like pickpocket and take people's stuff off without them knowing it. But at the same time, I was like, that's really not something that I really want to know, you know? And I was practicing like in middle school. I'd pick my cousin's pocket all the time. I could even pick his front pocket sometimes. But yeah, I just decided, this is probably not something that I want to get real good at. There's not, it's not like picking a lock. Picking a lock, you could help somebody.
Did you ever consider maybe he was just letting you pick his front pockets?
Mm-mm.
No, we weren't those kinds of cousins.
People are guessing numbers, but it's they're not winning, that's for sure. It's only between 0 and 10.
Wow, and they still haven't hit it?
And how many increments could one possibly have between 0 and 10?
Is this an irrational number?
I think this is an irrational show.
No, it's not. They just didn't pick it. There's only been like 3 guesses, so and one said 3, 6, and 9, and you can't have 3 guesses in one hit.
Right. You disqualified yourself, Zombie. I'm kidding.
That was it, 7. Zombie Snoop.
So the whole, oh my goodness, I figured Caleb would have the skills. So yeah, the whole thing where you misdirect somebody and shake their hands and get their watch off, I practiced that for a few years too. But I never did the pickpocket thing.
So we giving it to Zombie Snoop, or I don't know. That was my game because he got 7.
That was more of a game than I had.
All right.
Shout out to Nachiketa.
Fair enough.
In chat.
I'm good with it.
He was on with Rose recently. Was that yesterday even? Day before? Christ, I don't know.
Yeah, they were up for quite a while. They were keeping me company while I was unloading that one load of wood chips.
Totally missed it. I'm going to have to go catch that. That's what's up.
Yeah, they were live for a while. Zombie says he has it. But you can give it away to a friend or family member who isn't quite awake yet, if you would like. Just because you have it doesn't mean you can't win it. You can always pay it forward to someone else, a little less fortunate. That's up to you, though.
Well, yeah, it's up to him. If he wants it, he can have it.
No, he must have it.
You have to erase the old one.
Does anyone here not have it?
Well, it's one of those things, it is the most bought app at the Apple iStore, I think. I don't know if it's on Google Play. No, it's more than Angry Birds.
Wow.
Wait, what?
That's what David said on his last interview. I don't know.
That's what's up.
I don't go and look at those things. I know he was number 4. That was a while ago. That was over 6 months ago.
Dude, if you're whipping the birds, you'll get in trouble. But if you're,
that's what I'm saying, man. This stuff is a lot bigger than they want us to know.
That's
I heard some people talking about, I think it's like 2% flat earthers in the United States. It's like, yeah, you're retarded. It's way more than that. Way more than that. I wouldn't doubt it. We're up to at least 20% by now.
So Zombie Snoop, he said he's been thinking of giving it to his wife. So how does he get it? Sweet. We're onto it.
You could drop your email in our chat if you're so inclined, or you could email us at ironrealmedia@gmail.com. So there's 2 ways.
Yeah, it's an awesome app. If you haven't seen it or heard about it, Crawl out of that rock you've been under. It's a Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app by Blue Water Bay. It's $2.99, and it doesn't only give you like a tool to show people while you're sitting there talking to them, but if you're new to all this and you want to look for flat Earth content, the algorithms at Google and YouTube and all these other places, they hide it. It's being censored severely. So when you search flat Earth and you do find that one video finally after, a half hour of searching through this is why the Earth isn't flat videos, you get all excited because you see a real video, and then now it's another hour of searching to try to find the next one. And you have to go through all that nonsense. So this is a way to bypass all that. It's $2.99, and the research has been done. What about gravity? Click that. There's a playlist of videos about gravity. Ships over the horizon. Where does the sun go? Astronaut bubbles in space. Just about anything you could think of that has to do with
What about the incoherent electric field, Zach? Can you find that on there?
Well, that's when you ask about gravity, that's the first video that pops up.
Wow, sweet.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. All the work is Dave's already done it. He's found a bunch of great videos that you could share with friends and family, and point them to a video without having to go searching for it and not being able to find it because it's been removed or been censored. Like when you type Globebusters 2, which is running live all the time, their live stream doesn't pop up. A Professor Dave video is the first video that shows up. It's crazy. So if you want a way around all that stuff, you could spend 500 hours and get 20 hours of good content, or you could spend $2.99, save that 480 hours, and just go watch good content whenever you want. So that's kind of why he put it together. Well, he did it not to be an app to sell. He did it just to have something to show people how this place works. A visual aid. And it grew into this, and yeah, it's worth it in my opinion. So go check it out. Okay, a little plug for.
Oh no, sorry, I was just typing.
Yeah, I'm playing catch up.
I reckon I got 2 videos on there, Callum. One about that air dome one, and then one about the electrochemical Earth type stuff. So
nice.
Hidden away, little gems, I would say.
There might even be a galvanic cell. Some galvanic cell videos in there. I haven't looked in a little while.
Huh.
Yeah, you should have one of mine. Yeah,
Interesting question there from Tommy in chat. Can he click on the app and find out about street activism? I don't know if that's part of the app, but that should be. That's something we ought to talk to Dave about.
Okay, so we have Where's the Edge? Where does the sun go? What's under the flat Earth? Ships over the horizon? Photos of Earth from space? Why are other planets round? Satellites and GPS? Antarctica and the 24-hour sun? Circumnavigation? Southern star and moon rotation? Seasons? Gravity? Coriolis? We can see too far? Is it a religious thing? Southern flights? Pilots and scientists? Are all space agencies in on it? What about tides? Why the lie? And eclipses. So I'm sure some of your videos are in there, Lucas. I mean, he drops your name all the time. I'm sure there's got to be something in there about the stuff you cover.
Yeah, I reckon there's 2 videos. Yep, but he drops my. Well, he talks about the galvanic cell in nearly all of his videos, which is bloody brilliant, if you ask me.
Then he has another page. It's Flat Earth Friend Finder, his interviews. short FE videos, the Crow 777 podcast, Flat Earth testimony shows by Mark Sargent with the subject experts, Veritas Radio, Flat Earth Man and his music videos, full-length Flat Earth videos. He's got a bunch of different podcasts on here. The curve calculator's on here. Response vids, as in like debunking the debunkers. FE in the Bible, and then Mud Floods Tartaria. So yeah, it's got so much stuff in here. You can find information on something that you like.
Like all of it.
So, people aren't as phony now as they should be, I guess. No, I'm kidding. A lot of people don't have phones. I saw flip phones. I saw people saying they don't have a piece. They only have a PC. They don't have a way to play the app. I think that might have been Caleb. So, even Larry there asked, can the clock app be loaded on a PC with no smartphone? So there are ways to play Android or Apple apps on a PC. I used to use one called BlueStack, I believe. Here, hang on. Let me drop that in the chat for you. So there's 4 ways you can do that. We're not getting paid by anybody, but definitely not by David Weiss, not being silly. Dave pays us with love and these apps that we're able to give to you guys. But yeah, definitely go check that out, Larry.
The apps to give them out. He just gives them to us, and then we, share them with y'all. Doesn't even ask us to plug it, really.
Filled with love.
Yeah. Yeah, he puts his heart and soul into this stuff, as we all do. All of us, whether it's us on this side or you guys on that side, Might still
yeah, like
if you guys weren't still around. If
nearly everything I do is free, so
yeah, it's out of love.
Mm-hmm. I probably lose money on it, to tell you the truth. On my videos and all the rest of it. Time, patience, research, all that stuff takes hours.
But you gain wisdom out of it,
I've been down. I'm sorry, go ahead, Zach.
I gain what?
Wisdom.
Yeah.
Knowledge. Power.
Oh, yeah. I'd be doing it anyway. It's just fun sharing what you learn.
Man, you're planting seeds. I mean, as much as we've hung out and as many times as you have broken my brain since I've gotten to know you, I went down your video rabbit hole recently and broke my brain watching those. So, yeah, dude, you've got some good skills there. Keep it up.
Thank you.
If you guys don't know about LC King's channel, what the heck is going on? You should be over there. He goes by Lucas here. Sometimes he's the full Snunder, the Snunder from Down Under. He's got lots of monikers, but you go to LC King. I'll link it here in chat.
Yeah, and your stuff's been getting around lately. Your sub count has shot up quite a bit recently.
Yeah, it's taken off, man. I don't. It was from Matt from Quantum of Conscious. I think he gave me a shout out because he was going through one of his videos and he's like, "Oh, I think, definitely LC King's got the, power source or whatever." But so yeah, he's quite a big channel actually. Has a lot of views, so that helped. And then that Air Dome one that I done with that Dave Weiss put on his app, that sort of got that around as well. So yeah, so it's definitely been moving. It's pretty nuts actually. When I first done the channel, was I had about 100 people or maybe 120 people, and then Dave put me on Jeranism, and that was my first show, and I'm sitting there with this big whiteboard, scared shitless, trying to talk into a microphone and explain this concept, and which I didn't really have it fully as worked out as I do now, because I had to find a few different things and see how these things were operating. But so I'm sitting there explaining it, and I remember I was like, after that, it was silent after that for a while, and I thought, I bet me bringing up, metal planets and things like that. I could have just imagine hearing Jaren's voice, "Get out," you know what I mean? But it was
Yeah,
just more of a funny joke, He's like, but it's definitely. I think it's when the time's right for people to actually understand it, because I thought it was going to go a lot bigger, because it was so. For me, I sat on it for so long, these sort of concepts and ideas, and it actually took me a fair while to go, oh, am I right constantly? You know what I mean? And then when I sort of settled with, I couldn't get away from how much information I was actually picking up around it. Then once that happened, I was like, well, this is, I don't need to share this. And then I thought, well, as soon as I share it, this is going to explode and go sort of viral. But that never happened. And I think it's been an interesting experience trying to, rework what I've been trying to explain and getting it into a format that makes sense for more people, and putting it into these different contexts, and trying to back it up with, say, mythology and all these other different sort of ways to, because we can't really go, into, well, we have no other way of actually, going to the planets and seeing all these things. So you've got to try and work out different ways of explaining it. Am I making sense in that way?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I thought it would explode and it would sort of take off, but it really, in some sense, it sort of has, but it sort of hasn't at the same time, because
I think we all
it's
went
such a
through that, though.
large.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Large area of research to be done. Mine's like, I feel like mine's just like, here's a little blueprint, and then there's way more information to be able to be stacked on top of it constantly. So it's a matter of different people with different brains and different interests to actually go at it. You know what I mean?
Kind of like me with my electricity stuff. I mean, the whole electrostatic acceleration, I thought of that like 3 years ago. Well, I didn't think of it. I was shown that by Walter Lewin 3 years ago. And I thought, well, geez, this explains everything. I'm going to put out this video and it's just going to show everybody how it all works. And yeah. And here we are 3 years later, and, there's more people that are aware of it, and people are starting to comprehend it a lot better, but it didn't take off like I thought it would have. I thought it was going to be, bam, boom, to the moon, and nope, it's, yeah. But, I mean,
And
we're so censored. That last video I had put out on electrostatics, YouTube, it was shared on the app, on Dave's app, and YouTube that day said I had like 2.2 thousand views. And David called me the next day and he's like, dude, don't pay any attention to YouTube. He was like, that video had over 50,000 clicks on my app. So yeah, your stuff could be out there a lot bigger,
Yeah, I'm not really worried about, I'm not worried about my channel getting big. That's not what I'm saying whatsoever. I don't really care.
Yeah, no,
I'm more interested in where people can go from there, lifting that sort of, or where does it actually end up when you have multiple people actually thinking about this in these terms? What does it actually give people at the end of this road, sort of thing? That's what I'm interested in. Does it give us back something that, a connection that we may have lost just by, I know it's scientifically based, but it's also, I try and add these elements of spirituality or a connection to our world, and I think that's where it leads, and that's why I think it's important as well, because we can see how we are electrochemical beings and the world's electrochemical in the same time. So it's mirroring. There's a mirroring sort of happening. So anyway, that's my little rant.
Yeah, to comprehend what the ancients were saying, the people who wrote down all this stuff in Sanskrit way back when. You really need to look at it from a spiritual side, because that's how they wrote it. You have to be able to take that spiritual stuff they're talking about and that they're applying to it, and kind of, to understand what the ancients were saying, you have to read it in a different way.
Yeah, they seem to be very philosophical in the terms that the way they explain things, but it's also might be due to, how our language works, and say, maybe that was each word had a different representation. We can have level as meaning, we're seeing something level, but it also can represent the thing, which is a level object, and so we may not be able to go back in time to actually figure out that the same word had multiple meanings depending on the context it was used as well. So there could be a language barrier there. There could be multiple things going on that we sort of haven't figured out, that sort of, and like you say, they seem to be very poetic in the way that they write about their sort of more esoteric literature as well.
So that's going to be at the end of it right there.
Yep.
Bring us right up to the break.
Have to find out about Sweetener 12 when we get back, though, Lucas.
Hey, sweet. So there's Terrestrial Mac right there in chat. So he's probably awake. Maybe already seen the invitation for his premiere this evening. Sweet. So hopefully he'll stick around. He'll still be there in a couple minutes. TJ, good morning. Big kudos to you, sir. I'm really digging it. Nobody else has seen it though but me. We'll be right back.
Hey everyone, it's Chris Gio, founder of Truth Frequency Radio and host of Beyond the Veil. The mainstream media and establishment are running scared right now, and they've prominently featured truthfrequencyradio.com as number 89 on the federal government's hit list, also known as the fake news list, which is essentially a list of sites slated for censorship on Facebook, YouTube, Google, and other social media. Now is the time for you to get involved. Share your favorite TFR shows far and wide on forums and social media. Tell your friends and family about your favorite shows. If you're a business owner, get in touch with us to feature your product or service right here on TFR. And if you haven't done so already, become a TFR supporter now and get unlimited commercial-free downloads in high quality.
Visit truthfrequencyradio.com/signup.
Thank you for making TFR the leader in independent and uncensored talk radio. Truth Frequency Radio, your protection
From deception.
Hey folks, guess what the number one phrase that Life Change Tea receives by email? You ready? We love this tea. We love this tea. Time after time, week after week, we love this tea. Life Change Tea gives you more energy, a beautiful cleansing, and fulfills its slogan perfectly. The tea that makes you go. So if you want to be on your health game, log on to getthetea.com and order Life Change Super Strength Tea. Packages come in a 1-month supply, and when you brew this stuff, wait until you see the results. Aren't we all about the results? And with a lot of people's health struggling, we can use a little bit of help. Doctors will tell you disease starts in the gut. So log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Be our next email saying, I love this tea. I mean, I love this tea. Get the tea at getthetea.com. Helping America one tea bag at a time.
He was the deputy director of MI6, Britain's most senior diplomat. He was knighted by the Queen and in charge of thousands of highly trained spies.
gangs, but he was also a member of the Pedophile Information Exchange. He had 45 diaries full of sex fantasies with children. His friend was the private secretary of Margaret Thatcher. He strangled a child and hit another with his car. He raped young boys and organized orgies with children for other politicians.
The Enigma Channel, intelligent television for planet Earth. EnigmaTV.com.
No hate, no hype, no fear. We are TFR. Frequency Radio.
Start your day off bright and shiny. Get up off your little hiney and begin your happy day.
Hi, this is Alan. I like Ironworx because it's where everybody knows your name and they're always glad you came.
I love Ironworx with Josh, Walt and Zach. It's like sitting in your front room having a cosy chat with your best friends.
Hi, it's Diva here, and I just want you to know that Ironworx with Josh, Walt and Zach, it's definitely my favourite dose of reality. Come join the family and keep it flat.
Why sleep in when you could get your dose of iron in the morning? Listen to the Ironworx on TFR.
This is Enlightened Dawn. Roses are red, violets are blue. Iron Realm Media is the best on the plane. To this show, I will forever be true. You guys are truly the best, and I love you guys. I'm so thankful to have you in my life.
Do you like listening to Space Letters from Never a Straight Answer? Then tune in to The Ironworx with Zach, Walter, and Josh. Break clear of the fear on the Ironworx and become an Iron Scout.
And welcome back to the fourth and final segment of the Ironworx right here on Truth Frequency Radio, TFRlive.com. Josh, Walt, Zach, and Lucas hanging out with you this morning, giving away apps. Shout out to Zombie Snoop. We got your email. I should have replied promptly. If for some reason that code does not work, just let me know. I've done pretty good at getting them out. I've just not done very good at getting them off my phone. Because Dave just sent me a stack of basically JPEGs, and each one has a individual code on it. So if you win, I just send that right on through. And yeah, I don't do a very good job of deleting the ones that I've sent already, which would be really organizational of me, which does not come naturally. So as you can imagine, there's always the possibility that there might be a code that has already been used. Again, if that's the case, just let me know. But I'm at least doing reasonably well at keeping track, I think.
Do you want to talk about a little bit of space lettuce?
Hey, before we do, I'm sorry, before we do, Larry Matilla in chat says, apropos of absolutely nothing, and since we're at the top of the segment, I think it's something I want to ask you guys. He says, ancient Hebrew is very physical. I know you've looked into Hebrew, Zach. You looked into learning it with your buddy in Florida. Damn it, David?
Adam.
No.
Adam, damn it.
Not Adam, Jake in South Carolina.
Oh, see, I'm totally off all the way around. You did some Hebrew celebrations maybe in Florida. That maybe where I crossed things over.
Yep, that was in Tennessee.
Dude, I am so lost.
It's all right. No, Jack was right after Adam. I built Adam his garden and hung out down there in Florida, learned how to weld and do all that
There
stuff.
we go.
Did the marshmallow, and then headed
Well,
up to South Carolina with Jack.
It's just something that keeps coming up over and over and over in things I've looked into over the years is the idea of this Hebrew symbols being something that is just not only a written depiction of a sound, that they are the letters that are the letters of creation, that these sounds they make are the frequencies of what holds this place together, just all these crazy ideas. Even at one point, we met up with some people at a UFO convention back in the day. Their theory, they took physical 3D like representations of the Hebrew alphabet, like a gold, almost like something you would hang on your tree maybe, and then they would hang it from a string literally and spin it in space, and it would make the shape of these crop circles. And it was like, okay, what the hell? And so here's this Larry just said. And then in the book I'm reading, The Secret History of the World, I just read a part where they talk about, in one of the Apocrypha, which I don't have the book in front of me to look and see which one, they talk about holding the image of these Hebrew alphabet in your mind changes your connections to things up there, out there, metaphysical, God, whatever you want to call it. That is part of something that's been definitely hidden from us, and kind of confused and had a lot of crap piled on it that, so I just wonder is that something at all that makes any sense from the things you're looking at? I know we know symbols are basically what this whole place is built on, but just it's an idea of these very special letters being so significant. Anyone?
Well, I was talking with Jack and Austin and Bob the other night when they were all over, and Jack was telling me stuff that I don't know if he just recently learned this or had these revelations, but the Hebrew language, it's almost like we were born speaking it, and it's so true. Ah, ba, 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 ba. How many times have you heard a baby do something like that? Well, Abba is father. Ma, 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 ma. Ima is mother. Babies are speaking Hebrew right out of the womb. As soon as they start
Well, you
making,
just broke my brain. Thanks, Zach.
they are speaking Hebrew, and we just don't understand them. That has got to be so frustrating to be, at that stage of your life, that young. What if you are speaking a language and you know what you're saying? I don't know. It's got to be traumatic to come in.
Yeah, I don't know about that Hebrew language, but I was looking into the Sanskrit language and how they have like 16 different sounds that they make, and each of them is like a different placement of the tongue and the jaw, and they all, it's like using a different part of the body and where it comes from in the body.
What it
So that was
resonates
really
with, right.
yeah, so it was like, yeah, that's right. And they have a whole system where it's sort of these certain sounds or words will line up with, say, certain parts of the body and things like that. So it's very interesting that way, how that's constructed from those basic sort of sounds that you can make depending on where your tongue is, where your mouth is, and things like that. And in that way as well, it was tied into music. So yeah, it's very interesting how their language is constructed. And when you look at these things, to me it just seems like it's beyond my sort of intelligence to come up with anything like that. It's just, how do you begin to even construct a language like that? Or, I guess it's probably natural part of us, like you're saying, Zach. It's part of our sort of something that's in us, that language just comes out of us in that way. So, its origin is beyond our sort of normal thinking, in a sense.
Yeah, the sounds definitely are from us, but these symbols, the modern Hebrew symbols, because they had ancient and paleo Hebrew, and those were pictograph, kind of like what the Egyptians did. And these were, it went through two different sets of, it was a long period of time. They have the ancient Hebrew, and then there's paleo Hebrew, and those went on for quite a while. And then all of a sudden they made modern Hebrew, which doesn't really look anything like the old symbols. But somehow magically, when you say these and put them into an oscilloscope and collapse the sine wave, it makes these pictures of these sounds. So it's almost like they figured something out and changed their alphabet to these different symbols that coalesce with the sound. I don't know. Again, this is all his story.
The other thing that I notice, and I think it's interesting as well, is like when you're talking about pictographs and things like that and having symbols in that way, we seem to be using that a lot more in just through the internet and things like with emojis and all that sort of stuff. So I wonder if maybe they're just because they're available to us, or we're more going towards that pictograph style again. I don't know, because you can say a lot in a picture really quickly as well. Like a picture's got 1,000 words or something like that. So I wonder if languages can be more descriptive or have a lot more meaning to them if they're in that picture form. I've always sort of wondered about the Egyptians sort of, the way they had all their pictures and things like that. Very descriptive in a way.
Yeah, Nachiketa brings up a very, pertinent point in chat. There's a lot of languages that, mother and father, and a lot of these basic first words, they kind of sound the same. They're very basic and simple, and it's, a couple vowels with one consonant in between. So it's not just Hebrew that does this. A lot of languages probably sprang up from, these sounds that are very basic and common to us all, and probably the easiest ones to make without flexing your tongue or shaping your mouth in a certain way. As when you're a child, you don't have control of those muscles all that great yet. So the easiest ones to pronounce are probably like your mother, father, things like that. That's a very good point.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Emoji is another language, he says.
Right.
I'm not pushing it that. I'm not pushing it that far. I'm just sort of noticing the correlation. That was all. I was just pointing it out. I'm not saying it's.
There's a strong argument to be made that the emojis could be linked to the Goetia.
Hello.
Mm-hmm.
And those 72 demons.
Aren't there, 666 emojis or something like that now?
I don't know about that, but we definitely know the 72 are linked to the Solomon seals.
Yeah, those were the original first emojis, right? They came out with 72 of them.
Somatics, pictures, sound, all that definitely has something to do with it. Sorry, what was the question, Zach? I'm trying to play catch up and hear you.
I forget.
Okay. Yeah, the 72 were put out like in a certain year, and Professor Bulworth Smythe, is that it? Damn.
I believe that's correct.
Professor Bulworth Smythe's channel. I will link that to you, and you can definitely have your brain broken by the whole idea of what all that means. Terrestrial Mac, our buddy TJ in chat, says in some cultures, forgot which ones, the newborn stays with the grandparents for the first part of their lives because the baby has information for the old person from the other side they just came from. It's a place where the grandparents will be going. That's kind of brain breaking.
That is kind of,
because I know there was lots of times when my younger siblings got here, they would talk about, when I was big, I did this, that, and the other. And when I was big, I had this, that, and the other. Before they got to a certain age, and then all that stopped. So did my child.
Well, there are lots of books written on that, isn't there?
Mm.
Of people that sort of remember stuff where they were beforehand and things like that. Something that's always interested me, but I've never been, able to, tap into it or whatever. Maybe you need special door open in your mind to get to it or something. I don't know.
I always wondered about the dreams. They weren't the same dreams, but the places were the same.
Mm-hmm.
I remember there's this one place I went, and we were up in some giant tree where we were above the clouds. You couldn't see the ground. And all the walls were made of like cloths. There was little steps that went from this platform to this platform, and we were just up in this tree. Never went down out of that tree. It was always up in that tree. Yeah, it was weird. But I've been to that place so many times, especially at a young age. I haven't been there in years, but it's very vivid in my brain, that memory of being there multiple times,
Right. Well, I have that that happens often. There's place revisited, familiarity, like where this place is when you dream it, and when you're there and you feel the feelings and the experiences you're going to be having there, almost like a school, but not always that. Sometimes it's a different place, but it's always the same place. And then there's the people, the group, the tribe, the soul, the community, the oneness, whatever you want to call it. It's always those same beings as well. Or at least for me, it is.
Yeah, I don't know. Those are those, I guess I'll have to wait and see questions.
Well, we have about 10 left,
it's
so a little less if you wanted to
it's
go to
definitely
letters.
a wait and see.
Wait and see, right?
So real quick, before we get into the space letters, I did want to mention, since we got Terrestrial Mac there in chat, I did invite him on this evening to premiere it. He says if he gets some time, he will pop in. I'm awful. The sibilance in my ears is ridiculous. How do I kill that? Anyway, so I will keep the video queued up this evening. So if he gets a minute and he can pop in, I told him he can come and go whenever he wants. So if he pops in, I will have that video queued up and ready to go, and we will premiere it this evening. I'm super excited. I tried to give a 45-second preview to the Iron Scouts there on Twitter, but for some reason, Twitter doesn't want to let me upload 40 seconds of that video. Either account, my personal account or the IRM account, neither one will upload the video, which is strange.
That is strange. Well, look, I hate to keep pulling us away from the lettuce, but Don just asked Netch, or mentioned back to Natch. I think that our next step is maybe learning to retain our info so we do not have to reincarnate each time. Once I dug into the idea of loose energy and the fact that we live in a world that is basically Monsters Incorporated, I kind of think that the whole afterlife may have been hijacked, and that is what reincarnation is them tricking you into coming back here, even though you've gotten through your lessons and completed a whole lot of shit. And oh wait, you broke Aunt Taunt's mirror she liked so much. You got to go back and fix that. That hurt her. Or whatever guilt crap they throw at you. You know, grandma meets you at the light. All that idea really doesn't make sense to me. If you've spent a lifetime accumulating knowledge, learning things, growing, changing your frequency, changing your salts, what you came here to do, and now you've passed back to there, why would you go back here and wipe all those memories away? What kind of learning experience is that, to have little tiny little inklings of a clue that, oh wait, I kind of remember that? That doesn't make any fucking sense. I really truly think that the loose energy idea is really key to this whole thing. And I can tell you one thing: when I get the fuck out of here, I won't be going to any light tunnel or heading to go talk to grandma or any of that bullshit. I'm heading to somewhere else. Don't you worry. Sorry, many.
Well, what about, like, if you were told you're going to go on an adventure and you have to deal with it, like you're about to go on the Lord of the Rings adventure and be Frodo himself, and are you gonna do it with all the knowledge of what's coming up and all that sort of stuff, or are you gonna just bite the bullet right at the start and say, all right, I'll take it, I'll do it? You know what I mean?
If it's my choice fully in free will, then that's one thing. But if there's this whole thing of this past life review and this whole, you feel everything you've done to everybody, and it's just a fucking mind game like they play with us here with the fucking advertising schemes and the fucking education system. It's the same thing fucking repeated. Why would that be the afterlife? That makes no fucking sense. Sorry, this is really a sticker point for me, especially after last year.
Don't know.
As I shut down the show, sorry,
I don't know what
it's definitely.
I don't know what it's going to be like on the other side. So, I expect a warm welcome. It's like, well
that's
done.
where I think the trick starts. That's really where I think the trick starts.
I expect.
There's a guy out there, Daniel Brinkley. I met him. I got to know him really well. And when I met him the first time, he was a light person. He was filled with a light that came from him. When I shook his hand, I knew him and he knew me, and we hugged each other and we were brothers. I knew this man and I'd never laid eyes on him before. Then fast forward a year later and he dies again. At the point I met him, he had died twice, I believe, or maybe even 3 times. Had come back, had lots of information, amazing books, had a great speech that we heard and experienced, and did some meditation with him, and it was great. Fast forward to like 2 years later, he comes back to the convention. He's died again. And this time, apparently, things that he saw there weren't the same. And he never detailed them in a book. He never talked about them really in a speech. But when I shook his hand and hugged him that year, he was not filled with light anymore. He was very disillusioned and upset. And I'd brought somebody to the convention to meet him because I was excited for them to get a taste of that energy and kind of carry it into their life because they needed it at the time. And when I walked in the room and saw him, I could see his energy had changed utterly. He was completely a different person. So what did he experience in that time beyond that changed all that so greatly? I will reach out to him. I have actually tried to do that a couple times, but he's got a whole lot of stuff going on in his life. He's a busy dude. Me and Jonathan actually had talked about that not too long ago. So, but definitely to figure out what changed him, what he saw that made such a difference in his time beyond that time, it really intrigues me. So again, we're running out of time and I'm yammering, so I'll shut up and let you guys say some stuff.
Well, that is only about 3 minutes, huh?
Truly it is.
3 minutes. 2 minutes, Turkish.
Y'all come hang out this afternoon for sure. TJ, I hope can come hang if you can. And if you can't, all good.
he will try to keep me informed throughout the day as to what's going on.
Perhaps we'll open some lines then, since this will be our last Iron Realm Media podcast channel for a while.
Fingers crossed.
Here's my finger crossing for you too. You too.
We go out tonight with a bang and just play all kinds of music.
Right, just blow this channel out. That's what I'm saying.
Well, you're probably only going to get one song in, Zach.
You can fight over the Sixth Sense, the whatever advertising.
Just don't play that video again. Even though it was funny.
It was great. And even though I loved it, I've not watched it since that fucking show. Oops, sorry. Getting ugly at the end here. Well,
maybe I'll take it and polarize it and flip it and invert it and play it backwards.
Squiggly it.
Run it in reverse and say, here you go.
Alrighty. You never know what'll happen with us.
Well, that was a fun one. Thanks, folks. Love y'all.
That was.
Truly, thank you guys. Love y'all.
Great way to start the day.
Thanks, everyone.
So, yeah, make sure you do.
Or end your night like Lucas out there on the outskirts.
Exactly.
Right.
It's well and truly started.
Out there on the fringe.
You don't badmouth science in this place. Fuck that shit. Science. It's real, bitches.
Where's that goat?
I know what you like.
Every time. Lucas cracks up every time he hears the goat. You all got to call for that more in the chat. Just out of nowhere. Just say, play the goat if you want to hear Lucas laugh. Yeah.
The old mummy. The mummy was a crack up too. That one was always pissing us off.
I gotta find that. That's around somewhere. All right then, guys. Have yourself a great Friday. We will see you right back here for what is hopefully the last for a while broadcast on this YouTube channel. Be good. Be well. Love you.